Alright, well today we are going to talk about cold and flu because as you all know it is cold and flu season already. There is a difference between whether you have the cold or flu, sometimes it's hard to tell, but the basic cold symptoms are sneezing, coughing, sore throat. There's usually no persistent headache, typically no fever, usually not achy, things like that, but when you have the flu, you are achy all over. You always have a fever. If you don't have a fever, then it's usually not the flu. The fever is usually between 102 and 104 degrees, and it needs to be lasting longer than 3 to 4 days. If it just lasts a day, then it's usually not the full-blown flu. Sometimes there is vomiting with it, diarrhea. If that is constant, you definitely need to make sure you get your fluids in, and if it keeps persisting, then go to your doctor and make sure that you don't get dehydrated, because that can lead to more severe problems. The cold and flu is spread through respiratory droplets from coughing and sneezing and getting that everywhere, and then if somebody touches it and then with their hands and touches their eyes, nose, mouth, something like that, then especially if there's a lot of germs on your hands, then you're probably going to get the cold or the flu or whatever bacteria or virus you have on your hands at that time. So basically prevention is the key. The number one way to prevent getting sick is by washing your hands. So I had two ladies demonstrate on, hopefully they did a good job washing their hands. I put some glow stuff on their hands and I had them go wash it. So I'm going to have you all come up here and see how good job you did. And Roberta did an excellent job. You did a very good job. There's just a little bit right here on that hand. Good job.
Like an A.
Yeah, and there's a little bit right here. The more you have on your hand, the more likely you are to get something. So Roberta actually, A+. Good job.
Thank you.
I put powder on my hand plus the glow stuff, and I did not wash my hands after I did it, so you can see quite a bit. But, I mean, that just shows you can't always see the germs on your hands, so that just shows just because your hands look clean does not mean that they are.
Right.
You can't see it when the light's turned on. So.
That's good, thank you.
They did a very good job washing their hands. Typically people, they probably knew they were going to be doing this on TV, so they scrub and scrub. Usually people don't do a good job. You just kind of rinse underwater real quick, but what you need to do is get plenty of soap, and the water's warm, that's good, but it's more the friction. You really need to rub. And a lot of times when we do this, people miss here around the palm area, the bottom of the palm, in between their fingers. You know, usually this area, because people go like that, but you don't really get in between real good. So if you guys got in between on top of your hands, keep washing like that. That's good. But usually we don't have those good demonstrators. So, but that's just the main thing. When you do wash your hands, make sure you get between the fingers friction. Wash for at least 30 seconds if you can, 20 seconds. Some people sing the alphabet a couple times in their head. That's the way to remember to do it. So, hey, whatever keeps you happy, whatever gets you remember to do it. But the key is if you don't have any soap or water, hand sanitizer is okay, alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Get plenty on your hand so it doesn't dry up right away, and act like you're washing your hands whenever you put it. Don't just rub again. Make sure you really get between your fingers and on your wrist and your palms and stuff. And then also your fingernails. A lot of times there's stuff when you wash your hands. Make sure you get under there if you have long fingernails. Because what happens is, actually, do you mind shutting off the light again? I put it on my hand, that's why it was on my hand, and I put it on a piece of paper. I kind of handled this paper a little bit. Whoops, wrong way, sorry. And you can kind of see where it is on the paper. So you know how many papers and receipts get shuffled around here, and you can't see it. But so if germs are on your hand, if you don't wash your hands frequently, and this is going to get on paper, then whatever's on here you're going to get and then transfer to something else. So, I mean, that's quite a bit. I really didn't try too hard to get it on here. So, it doesn't take much, and this is a little bit. This was just sitting underneath it. So, that's quite a bit on there. Thank you.
Those people that handle money.
Yes, money is really bad. So it shows you germs are everywhere. You can't see them. So that's why the key is prevention, and hand washing is that. Of course, if you're coughing and sneezing, what do? Do we cough like this? No. Yeah. Go into your armpit, into your elbow, and don't sneeze and then wipe. That doesn't do you any good. I finally broke my husband at that. And even if you sneeze into a tissue, I mean, it still gets on your hands. You still need to, wash your hands anytime after you cough and sneeze. I got another little demo for you. This is some powder. And then, so this is just kind of show you how things spread when you sneeze. So you'll be able to kind of see it since this table's dark. Achoo! Did you see how that kind of spread everywhere? So, and that's just, I mean, there's probably stuff over here and stuff that you can't see, but if you do sneeze in your hand, I mean, look how much was still left on my palm. So, and then if that gets on, if I hand a paper to you, once again, it's just, stuff can spread so easily, and I wash the table, don't you guys worry. So, but then if you spread, I mean, it's still tons of germs everywhere. If you're working, you do have the flu, then obviously you guys work really closely together. Somebody else is going to get it. I mean, if you just have a temperature of 100 or 101 and it's only been a day, you're probably safe coming in. But if it's a persistent fever, like I said before, 100, 200, 304, and you've had it for a couple days, don't come into work. Just because you are going to potentially spread it. You need to go to the doctor, get checked out, and if he says you're fine, then of course you're good to go. If you have a fever and it's persistent and they do say you have the flu, it's probably safe to come back to work whenever you've been fever-free with no medication for 24 hours. So because if you still have a slight fever and you haven't completely recovered, even if you feel a little bit better, you can still spread those germs. You can't really, there's another difference, with cold and flu, you can't really treat it, cure it with antibiotics. There is a handout on how antibiotics don't really work for the cold or flu. You can ease your pain a little bit with it, but it doesn't actually cure it because they're viruses and the antibiotics we have don't cure it. So a lot of times if you keep taking over-the-counter stuff for colds and flus and you take it too much, your body can actually, the viruses can build up resistance to that and they really won't work for you. So try and take it, just rest, fluids, a little bit of Tylenol or aspirin if you have some achiness will help. The Tamiflu and stuff like that, once again, those can make your symptoms lessen a little bit and make the flu not last as long. However, it will not completely cure it. So keep that in mind too. Flu shots. Is that what you're going to ask?
Yes.
Okay. I recommend everybody get the flu shot unless there's certain if you've had a severe reaction to it in the past, allergic to eggs, things like that, don't get the flu shot. But just the regular seasonal flu shot, I would get. Any place can get them. Anyway, I know some of the health departments are out of them. They were the cheapest. They were $9, but some places offer them up to $24, $25 maybe a shot. You haven't heard a lot about the seasonal flu yet, but it's still kind of early in the season to get it. So it can take a couple weeks for your flu shot to get activated. So I would get it no later than maybe the end of October, so that way it lasts through flu season. Maybe early November would still be okay. And of course, everybody's hearing about the H1N1 flu shot. I would get it if you're there's tiers of populations that need to get it. So, I mean, if you're a pregnant woman, get it. Caregivers of infants less than 6 months need to get it, and all children are at 24 years of age, just because of school and how many germs are passed around. They're in the top tier to get it. If you're kind of in the middle age group, 24 to in your 60s, unless you have some type of condition, illness, diabetes, something like that makes your immune system suppressed, you're going to be one of the last group to get it. However, if it's still available and you want it and it gets that last tier, then go ahead and get it. I've not heard any or read any severe reactions to it. I know some people are hesitant to get it since it is the first year, but it is just like getting the flu shot. Some people might have a reaction to it, or might get a little bit of cold or something afterwards, but nothing severe, and it is better than getting the flu. So if you have any type of flu symptoms, it's always safest to go get it checked out. You don't want to keep, just stay sick and then think it'll go away. So like I said, anytime there's fever is the main thing, and headache and achiness. Those are the three main things. But if you let it go, then it can get something worse, pneumonia, bronchitis, and you don't want that to happen.